Caputo, Shadow Minister for Public Safety for the Conservatives. I want to begin by expressing our deepest condolences to the police community in Ontario and to the loved ones and all impacted by the deaths of OPP Constable Bali and Toronto Police Officer Constable Caputo. We expressed our deepest sympathies and deepest condolences for the loss to the community. The Liberals are attempting to ram Bill C-22 through in a speedy and undemocratic way. They're using their manufactured majority in what might be the most aggressive programming motion I've ever seen. They are attempting to get this bill through when they know that there is significant opposition, and I would say reasonable opposition, to this bill passing. A lot of Canadians have a lot of questions, particularly about Part 2 of the bill. There are a lot of questions about whether this is going to be inviting Big Brother type of surveillance, things like that. Those are the types of questions that we need to consider at committee in order to make the bill strongest. As Conservatives, we believe that any bill that gives police the tools that they need should obviously be balanced with charter rights and privacy rights. I, for one, will not pass legislation that may be unconstitutional, period, full stop. And I believe that my Conservative colleagues are in the same boat. So what we need to do is we need to give Part 2 of Bill C-22 further study. It's been way too quickly brought to committee. We need to see more of it. In Part 1, we as Conservatives will meet with the Liberals. We will pass Part 1 as swiftly as possible. That's not the contentious aspect. Part 1 gives police some of the tools that they've needed to streamline investigations. We're committed to giving police the tools we can in a way that's constitutionally compliant. So I urge the Minister of Public Safety to keep his promise. And his promise at the outset was that he would listen and that he would have amendments and listen to amendments. And right now, the Liberals are going back on that promise. And we as Conservatives will pass Part 1 as swiftly as possible, but Part 2, we have some questions. With that, I'll pass it to my colleague, Andrew Lawton. Thank you.
Andrew Lawton, Member of Parliament for Elgin, St. Thomas, London South. Just to Mr. Caputo's point, the Liberal government introduced sweeping reforms to Canada's privacy laws yesterday, while simultaneously blocking and obstructing efforts to have the Privacy Commissioner testify on the significant privacy infringements coming from another piece of legislation, Bill C-22. The Liberals are also yet again weakening the power of the Privacy Commissioner and trying to expand the authority of this new digital bureaucracy they plan to create. We will study the bill very carefully, but the Liberals have an abysmal track record when it comes to protecting the rights of Canadians, when it comes to freedom of expression and also privacy, and often the greatest threats to those are coming from Liberal legislation. Mark Carney is abroad right now at the G7. We encourage the Prime Minister promoting Canada, but he is once again gearing up to return without any results. He has not yet come up with one single free trade agreement for Canada. All we get is a very expensive catering bill when he returns from these trips. And meanwhile, the situation at home continues to be dire. We know that food bank usage is at record highs. Food affordability continues to be the worst in the G7 for Canada and for Canadians. And even with the Liberals' so-called affordability announcements, they're not doing a thing to make life more affordable for Canadians or to reduce the cost of food. We saw the Liberals come out with another re-announcement of a failed program this morning when we talk about the school food program. But even that, even if you take the most ambitious numbers from the Liberals, which are not actually guaranteed if you listen to the Breakfast Club of Canada, it would not serve 19 out of 20 Canadian children. This is another illusion that is not helping affordability for Canadians. And now I'll turn things over to my colleague, Billy Morin.
Billy Morin, Member of Parliament for Edmonton Northwest. Here to comment on the water legislation that was tabled today. Conservatives absolutely believe that clean water and access to clean water is a right for First Nations. But at the end of the day, we also believe in being a loyal opposition and holding the Liberal government to account. 11 years ago, this Liberal government said they would get rid of clean water at boiled water advisories within 6 years. Now it's 2026, and they still have 38 more to go, and there's still more rising or fluctuating at the end of the day. So they never keep their word, their promises. You know, it's now under this Prime Minister and under this, the first ever Indigenous ISC minister, that they've missed 2 deadlines on this water legislation. It's the second last day or the last days before the summer break, and it shows how much of a priority that this legislation wasn't to First Nations leaders at the end of the day. And so going forward, you know, I think about the communities that are suffering with Hep A in northern Manitoba. I think about Saskatchewan. You know, when you look at the legislation, the preliminary look that I took at the legislation, it is more Ottawa bureaucracy through a powerless commission. It centralizes power through the minister's office in Ottawa. It doesn't empower First Nations to actually get tangible things done. She might say that there's the biggest investments ever, but it's non-statute-based funding at the end of the day. Where are we going to be in 5 years? We need to challenge the Liberals to actually say, what is the date that you're going to back up to get these bold water advisories done? Because all I see out of this government is more fluff, and it's part of the course for this Prime Minister. No substance, grand announcements, big money spent, but the results actually go down. So, you know, those are the preliminary thoughts on the water legislation. We will absolutely talk with the government when it comes to moving forward on this legislation, but I'm also curious to hear from the communities that they say were consulted, because all I hear from communities is that this water legislation isn't up to par at this time.
Billy, can I ask you a question? You were first chief at Enoch Cree when your community went through the issue with arsenic in your water. It took a while to sort that out. Would the kind of things that Minister Massey is talking about today, would that have speeded resolution, again, when you were chief at Enoch Cree and had that problem?
Well, I looked at, again, like I'm still analyzing the bill itself, but you know, she talked about operators, she talked about operating, she talked about some of the grassroots aspects of this bill. I don't see that in this bill. I see her using the word framework a lot. When the Liberals use the word framework, I don't hear results. I don't hear a focus on actually getting things done. So I don't absolutely see that this bill will speed up any aspects of that in regards to anything. To me, the Prime Minister treats First Nations like a risk to be managed. And this is again what his first Indigenous ever minister for ISC is also portraying. It's the last day before sitting. Where was this when she said it was supposed to be done before the end of the calendar year? So I don't see that at all.
Can I get Frank on C14? Can I just get Frank on C14 and I'm done? Frank, C14's come out here, you're the Justice Minister about this, and there's issues with the provinces. Maybe in BC, there's not enough room in prisons. We have issues with judges, too many vacancies in the courts. As C14 comes into effect, where's the work now to be done?
Well, there's always work to be done. I mean, obviously, we work collaboratively on C14. I've walked through many penitentiaries where whole wings are closed, David, so with all due respect, I'm not seeing the lack of capacity, at least, that you're referring to. It's a Conservative's view that we need to go much further than C14. Yes, C14 did something. It may have taken a small step. We don't want to take a small step. We want to solve the problem. You still have the remnants of Bill C-75 that deal with release on the least onerous conditions. You also have Bill C-5 that allows people who do drive-by shootings to serve their sentence on house arrest. These are the type of tangible solutions that we as Conservatives want to see put into place.
What do you think needs to be done?
Well, the bill hasn't even been enacted. We've got 12 years of Liberal mismanagement on the justice file, period. Where do I think we need to go? I think we need to look at the reverse onus more seriously. I put forward a bill, Bill C-313, and responsible to the killing of Constable Rajala last Parliament, that would have done away with the reverse onus for serious gun criminals. That's where I think we need to go. None of these small steps have proven to work. We need wholesale bail reform. Conservatives are committed to wholesale bail reform. The Liberals are not. We want to clean this up. Will they take our advice? That remains to be seen.
Is C-22 dividing your caucus? You know, you're the tough on crime party. Police forces across the country are widely backing this bill. They want this bill passed. Is this creating division within your own caucus?
No.
And why are you so confident in saying that? Because I'm being told otherwise.
I think you're being told wrong.
Mr. Lawton,
Mr. Morin,
you're on the committee. There's reports that the committee is going to recommend an indefinite pause tomorrow. Is this true, and how are you going to vote?
I can't comment on the contents of the committee's report before it's tabled. I can say that I'm on record and have been for quite a long time in believing that MAID should never be made available for people with mental illness. I say that as someone who is himself a suicide survivor and might not be here had the expansion that's set to come into law been on the books 15 years ago. I would encourage all members of Parliament to support Bill C-218, which I had the great privilege of co-sponsoring from Tamara Jansen, which would end this, but as for the report, I believe is to be tabled later today.
Thank you. Mr. Caputo, can I just ask you, Correctional Services Canada is looking into the use of AI to help develop criminal profile reports for incoming offenders. We've heard concerns about potentially costly errors that would hurt both people going into the system or victims, and concerns about biases. Just what do you make of that, and what would you recommend the government do?
Well, I used to work for the Correctional Service of Canada. I've actually written criminal profiles before. I think that any time we are doing a foray into AI, we need to deeply consider that. I also think that the Correctional Service of Canada has other problems. This is an organization that transferred Paul Bernardo to medium security. I was just dealing with a victim recently who didn't even know that her abuser was going to be up for parole. The Correctional Service of Canada, I welcome the new commissioner, but boy, there are some serious issues because that organization is an absolute mess.
Are you
The legislation proposes a new commissioner. I'm wondering if you think that that's useful, and I also would like to hear you more on this idea of a timeline. Like, do you see anything in this legislation that would speed things up for the 38 communities under long-term funds?
Well, under the first easy one is I see absolutely zero when it comes to a timeline from the government in this bill. There is no mention of dates other than a 5-year review for the commissioner and the aspects of the bill itself. For the commission itself, I question whether the government, they always say they're for UNDRIP, free, prior, and informed consent, they're for these things, but I don't think they actually believe what they're saying. It's jargon and it's performative at the end of the day, because if they were for those things, they would put more jurisdiction within the hands of First Nations rather than this commission. It's advisory and 600+ First Nations across the country. If they truly believe in nation-to-nation partnerships, that's where the jurisdiction should lie, as opposed to concentrating in a fake commission or in the minister itself, which the bill actually does spell out.
Do you think the Liberals should just reintroduce the bill from the previous parliament?
I think they should really pause and go back to actual tangible aspects of this bill. It's more about investing in the technical aspects of operation, formalizing those things, as opposed to, again, talking about UNDRIP or talking about frameworks, because this is language that is performative at the end of the day, and I think they should probably consider scrapping this and go back to actual legislation that gets actual results in KPI.
Billy, a previous iteration of this bill enshrined the First Nations' right to clean water. It also had better source water protections. Many First Nations feel that this iteration of the bill is weaker. Does your party bear some responsibility for having blocked that previous version of the bill from passing?
No, absolutely not. This is Liberal legislation at the end of the day. In the previous parliament, I understand the Conservative Party was working with the Liberals in committee to get legislation through the best that it could as a loyal opposition. At the end of the day, what I'm really disappointed is this is a watered-down version of their previous bill, and we're going to challenge them to make it even better, going back to KPIs and technical aspects of getting clean water and wastewater to communities.
Thanks, folks.